A very good morning to Dr. Hafiza and friends. Today, my group are going to talk about strategies that we can use during group discussion based on Video D. Video D is about the common challenges that students face when studying abroad. This slide is about the strategies used in the video. The strategies are starting a discussion, expressing an opinion, encouraging participants, agreeing and disagreeing, and also making a conclusion. These strategies are important to ensure that the group discussion can continue and they can come with a conclusion about an issue that they are talking about. Next is about initiate and contribute to group discussion, or in other words, appropriate language function to initiate discussion. In the video, there are 7 sentences that we can use to initiate discussion. For example, the first one is, today we are going to discuss about the common challenges that students face when studying abroad. These sentences are used to introduce the topic that we are going to discuss. Next is asking for opinion. We can do this by calling their name and ask about their opinion about the issue. Or we can ask them by saying, what do you guys think about this issue? Other than that, we can also initiate discussion by saying our own opinion, by saying, I think that, and continue with our points. Last but not least, we can initiate discussion by asking, are there anything else do you want to add?
After that, we will be moving on to negotiation routes and strategies. There are different types of negotiation that we can use in our discussion, such as negotiation with the customer over the price and sale. Next, negotiating a legal settlement with an opposing attorney. And after that, negotiating service or supply agreements with vendors. Next, these are some examples of negotiation words that we can use in our discussion. But the first one is, I am very excited by the opportunity to work together with Mr. Ali. Second, based on my research. Third one, my team and I will be more comfortable if, then you add your point. For the fourth, if you can do that, then I'm on board. And the last one is, shall we get started? Next is tactful words and strategies. There are several examples of tactful words that we can use if we are having a discussion. Number 1, I don't want to talk about this since all of us don't know the facts. Number 2, thank you for trusting me to answer this question, but I honestly really don't know what we are talking about. Number 3, next time, I think your point will be more stronger if you spend more time on research.
Phrases to make suggestions. I found 3 phrases to make suggestions in the video. For example, the first one, my tip is. The girl in the video said, my tip is we have to learn more basic English in communication. Second, maybe we can. For example, maybe we can use technology to contact our family and friends. Third, my suggestion. My suggestions for international students is just be yourself, don't be afraid, and try to deal with being judged by others. Expressions to give opinion. The first one, other than that. For example, other than that, we will miss our local dishes, which is quite hard to get them in other people's country. Second, for me. One of the girls in the video said to her friend, for me, some of them may experience culture shock. Third, I think we can. For example, I think we can practice more English to prevent any communication barrier. Number 4, what's your opinion about? Actually, I think this is more about asking opinion. For example, what's your opinion about problems that students face when they studying abroad? Expressions to agree and disagree. I only found 3 expressions to agree and 1 expression to disagree. Number 1, I feel the same. For example, I feel the same with your point that there are some people that can speak English but can't understand the accent or the slang. Number 2, I agree with your opinion. For example, I agree with your opinion about the language barrier. Number 3 is yes. When one of the girls in the group discussion video was explaining about her point and then her friend said yes, which means they agreed with her point. Number 4, I don't think so. When one of the girls asked her friends, Do you have anything else to say or add? And her friend said, I don't think so.
After that, we will look at prompting, turn-taking, interrupting, and resuming words and strategies. But first, we look at prompting. For prompting, we can use words like due to, give back impact, considering, as a result of, and owing to. Next is turn-taking. For turn-taking, we can consider that turn-taking has three parts. For the first part is takes turns. You can say, I'll go first or shall I go first when you want to take turns in discussion. And second part is make your turn longer. You can say, what I meant is, by saying this, you can elaborate your point to make it even longer. Or you can also say, another example or for example. And last part is giving turns to others. You need to say, I'm being quiet right now, or I'm trying to think about that. By saying this, others will realize that you are giving chance to them to take their turns in discussion. Interrupting and resuming. For interrupting, you can say, number 1, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Number 2, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt both of you, but I have to go. Number 3, I don't mean to be rude, but I would like to ask a question. May I? Number 4, excuse me, but may I jump in here? Here are some different types of interrupting that usually happen in a group discussion, like asking a questions, giving your point, or even when you have to go to somewhere else, so you need to stop the discussion with others. Next is for resuming. Resuming will happen usually after you giving others to take their turns while you are having a discussion. Then you can say, as I was saying, or getting back to what I have talked and continuing where I left off.
So moving on to the next part, which is about closing word and strategies. So there are a few words that we can say if we wanted to make a closing when we have done our group discussion. So here's a few examples that we can say. The first one is everyone can clearly say that. Second, it's quite clear to me that. Third, that's right, let's sum up our discussion, shall we? Or the last one we can say, let's try to summarize our discussion. So here's a few examples that we can see if we wanted to make a closing. Okay, next part is about evaluate and summarize opinion words and strategies. In this part, we can try to use this example in order for us to make a summarize on opinion. It can be either disagree or agree opinion. So the first one is like we can say, I would like to support Mr. X's point of view about his point or your teammate point. Second, this is just what I also think, and this what you can say if your point is seen with others. And third, I agree fully with what Mr. X has just said, or I in complete agreement with your point if you are agreeing with someone's points. And if in case you are disagreeing with someone's point, you can say I opinion. So the last part is conclusion word and strategy. What can we say if we wanted to make a conclusion at the end of our group discussion? So the first one what we can say is, okay, let me sum up what we have been discussing today. Second, what I like to do now is go over what we have been talking about, our title or our main point throughout our group discussion. And the last one is conclusion is that each solution have their own point and we agree with all the points. And here's a few examples that we can manage to do when we are leading our group discussion.